Karen Read has pleaded not guilty. So let's bring in ABC's Phil Lipoff along with trial attorney Eric Faddis. So Eric, this is the heart of the prosecution's case. They've got a job to layer in this evidence, show how it mounts towards a guilty verdict. What sticks out to you?
Well, one thing is that the prosecution has been, I think, much more diligent in terms of tying up possible loose ends, not giving the defense any avenues to try and, assert to this jury that this was some wild conspiracy where a bunch of cops, bludgeoned John O'Keefe to death inside the house. Instead, that they are really connecting the dots here. That they are proving how the vehicle strike is what led to the death and not some sort of ominous, vague altercation within the house. They're doing that through the physician. They're also doing that through this crime scene forensic expert, Ms. Hanley, who is talking about matching up the plastic debris that was found on John O'Keefe's body that according to her, appears consistent with the taillight of the vehicle. So that's sort of showing this causation and undermining defense's argument that it was, some, far-fetched, unknown event that happened inside that house.
Right, which did cause the first mistrial, it seemed, when jurors couldn't reach a complete verdict. Well, thanks for streaming with us. As you know, we've been following the 20th day of proceedings in Karen Read's trial. The Massachusetts woman, she's accused of killing her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. On the stand right now, Christina Hanley. She's a crime lab analyst. She testified during the first trial about the broken glass and plastic shards found near O'Keefe, and that's what we've been watching. They're in a sidebar right now, so let's bring in ABC's Phil Lipoff along with trial attorney Eric Faddis. So, Eric, this is a painstaking case in some ways. These little pieces of evidence, a lot can ride on them.
And both sides are really digging into the nuance here. And that's what you do at trial. You really have to sort out the nitty gritty and talk about what these little pieces of evidence could mean. With respect to the glass, the prosecution, I think, is going to argue that John O'Keefe had the glass in his hand at some point, and when he was struck with the vehicle, the glass broke. I think defense is likely going to say, no. John O'Keefe likely threw the glass at the vehicle, and that is what caused the broken taillight and not a vehicle strike. And so you can see how, even with just a kind of mundane piece of evidence, there are grand interpretations from both sides that really matter.
Eric, at the witness herself, Christina Hanley, will jurors be looking for evidence of the defense's theory of the case, although the defense has no burden of proof, that she or that the police department was conspiring to frame Karen Read?
That was the ominous suggestion from defense in round one in the first Karen Read trial. And there are other evidence, according to the defense, of kind of a botched investigation, some police misconduct. Phil mentioned Trooper Proctor, who was eventually fired for some really derogatory texts he sent about Karen Read. There was some issues with evidence collection. They used red Solo cups on the scene to get blood in, and that's not really standard protocol. So defense certainly has some avenues to explore in arguing to this jury that this was not a fair or accurate investigation and should not be relied upon to convict Karen Read.
Eric Faddis, thanks very much.